welcome back to the show. You might be saying, oh my God, you guys look so loose, you look so free. I lost the mic recorder.
Yeah, we have had a bit of a frazzled week. Last night was the first night that Aaron and I got a full night's worth of sleep in probably 2.5 weeks, I'd say. Especially Aaron. I had the luxury of taking naps here and there in the first week and, a little bit last week, but we've been grinding. And so we are completely delirious. And we thought, what's a better time to film a podcast than when you're completely delirious and have to get on a plane to San Francisco in half an hour?
How you feeling about that?
First of all, I want to say this, that there was someone who left a message. Can I mention this? There was someone who left a comment on our post when we talked about, kind of being weary about living in LA and wanting to go home and all this stuff. And I just want to say thank you for leaving that comment, because it was really reassuring and kind. And sometimes you just need kind people in the world to tell you to keep going and that you're doing the right thing. And sometimes it means more coming from a stranger than even from your own family. I think another big reason why I wanted to film this right before I left was because I get really bad anxiety when I come home from San Francisco, and I start doubting the validity of my life here. And so I think I just wanted to make this because we just came back from filming a fun project for you all to see. And even though I am very physically exhausted, and I think that Aaron is emotionally exhausted, tortured in his soul, not doing well in any way, I feel really alive and happy, and
It scares me.
and I feel
And I'm afraid.
he's really afraid, because that's what makes me happy. And I'm like, okay, what's next? I feel, honestly, the thought of keeping my day job for another year even, which I know is probably very likely, terrifies the shit out of me. And I just want to be able to create our own things. And sometimes when you're making your own things, people think that it's crazy, and they think that because you're not making any money from it in the beginning, that it's not a valid career choice, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like for anyone, because people, you kind of get older and you realize a lot of people start their own businesses. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
Especially with young people.
Well, I also think,
And
I don't know, starting your own business, at least from my family's perspective, is very noble. They really love business people, but they would never consider...
on God.
What?
On God.
I don't understand.
Just on God. Keep going.
They would just never understand that,
Well, I think it's not in the realm of the stuff that they are knowledgeable about, So
Yeah.
it's hard for them to comprehend how to be supportive because they just don't know about it. If it was a produce,
produce business.
produce business, so you have all the support and love in the world. And I think you do. It's just again, it's hard. And what people, I didn't think, tell you about when you're making your own business is it's really hard in the beginning. And I think the hardest part
We haven't gotten over the hump yet, so it's important to note this now.
is doing it when it's really embarrassing and when it feels really meh, when you really don't want to do it because you're oh, who's going to watch? No one's probably going to watch, or, whatever the doubt might be, because you're faced with the doubt because there's not really a ton of upside that you're seeing right now in the moment. But I feel like that's persistent, especially with something like this. I feel what makes a strong difference is if you just continue to keep going. So, I think if you are considering starting your business, or if you have, my main thing would just be it's not gonna be that immediate gratification, because I don't think it ever is, unless you're on TikTok and you're a little TikTok boy.
And you go viral.
Yeah.
But honestly, I will
God
say
bless,
there's no
if that's
immediate
you.
gratification. And
want you to die, but
I
God
do
bless.
think that I was going crazy when we were filming, as I always do. I always have a breakdown, and Aaron and I think we did better this time. Or worse. We
Oh,
had high highs and low lows.
yeah.
Okay. You're not being very encouraging right now.
No, I'm doing my best. I'm in the, I'm in the pits, but but it's like war is over, you know? It's not like
And
I'm
we
in,
won.
and we won the war, but I'm still like recovering, you know?
Okay.
I'm one of the wounded warriors.
Well,
That's how I feel.
I
I just
will
want my
say
son.
this, and I don't think that Aaron agrees with me, but when we were filming, we were probably getting like 4 hours of sleep a night, if even.
No, we're getting at least 4.
Okay, we were getting like 4 to 5, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's off of like no sleep for the last week or two.
Yeah, so 4 to 5 consistent.
And the 20 hours are like you're going for 20 hours, you know?
Yeah. So I was tired physically, but honestly, I didn't feel exhausted. Like when I come home from working at the Pilates studio, I could sleep for 4 hours straight, and I am so tired and so unmotivated. But when I was doing that, I was like, I could honestly do another day. Like,
Well,
I
yeah,
just
of
felt
course.
really energized and really like,
I mean, cuz
you're forced to.
it's fun. A, it's fun. B, we don't get to do it every day. B, it's like fuck. C, it's like it's genuinely what we want to be doing, right?
Yeah, and I think I just,
So it would be crazy if we didn't enjoy it.
yeah.
Um,
But it's like that's the thing about when you're building a business, like it's not all shit in the beginning because when you're able to do the things that you love and you make opportunities for yourself to do the things that you love. Like I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm probably not going to get any external validation for this. I might not get a job through it. But what it's giving me is like, even if this is it, it's reminding me why I came here, why I love to do this, and that I'm literally not going to stop because there's nothing else in the world that I love more than this. There's nothing else that I even think I'm good at or that I would be so passionate and happy to do than this.
yeah, I think it's just like trying to set up especially if the business starts as a side hustle. I think making it and working it into your life in a way where there's no sort of backup plan
Yeah, we
is
really don't have a
probably
backup plan,
my
you
best
guys. So,
advice because it forces you to kind of, you know, invest your thought and time into it. Because if we were just like, oh, we're gonna go do all of these like 9 to 5 jobs, we'd probably lean into the,
yeah.
you know,
It's not
convenience
like you don't have a
factor.
9 to 5 job, though.
Well, yeah, true. That's actually true. I didn't think about that.
You are a finesser, though.
Also, the 2 bedroom, 2 bath. I'm pretty sure it was a scam from last night.
You thought it was a scam?
Yeah, because I went on the website, I put in my credit card info, and then I think it was a scam.
How would they scam you for that?
Well, it was on Zillow, but they take you to an extra site. But Zillow's supposed to verify you. Zillow, you gotta get it together, guys. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was a
But
scam.
that's a real building.
I'm gonna
Do you
call
think they
them.
just took a photo of the outside?
I think maybe either that or the leasing company went through someone weird. I don't know. Maybe it's a total scam. I have no idea. I'm gonna call them
How do you
tomorrow,
even
though.
scam someone on Zillow?
So they didn't so they emailed me and they were like, "Hey, you gotta fill this out."
For credit card info.
Well, like a rental application.
And you didn't trust that.
And I filled it out.
And they took your credit card information?
Yeah, I canceled
Your credit card.
it. Yeah, I'm getting a new one. That was my bad, you guys. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. But moving on. Uh, yeah, I guess how are you feeling about going home this time?
I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. Right before I go home to San Francisco, and I love my family more than anything, and I love being home, I get really severe panic attacks. And you can probably tell because when I podcast right after I'm back from San Francisco, it's a very obvious difference from the other podcasts. It's a lot more gloomy and a lot more woe is me and a lot more, I don't know, down in the dumps.
A little sad.
I think that
You're a little sad girl.
whenever you go home to your parents, and we watched Shiva Baby last night, so I was reminded of this. Um,
Yeah, everyone
just
gets sad.
everything that you're doing is kind of questioned. And it's like, what's the proof of what you're doing? How can you physically show people how you've made it, even though you're in your early 20s and that's just not where you're
Or
going to be?
yeah, and like they know you from when you're like this kid, and everything you're doing that doesn't have, that hasn't come into fruition is non-existent. Whereas like someone can see this video who doesn't know us at all, who's maybe listened to like an hour or two of us talking, but understands that we're trying to do something. Like I feel like in a weird way you're able to connect with people who you don't know in that sort of way.
Yeah.
Versus with your family, they know the complete you, and I feel like there's this added, um, there's sort of this added layer of hurdle that you need to kind of jump through in order to.
Yeah, and then I feel kind of crazy for feeling all of that. Like, I was talking to our friend Morgan. I can say his name because he watches the pod. Um, and he goes home to New York probably like as much as I go back to San Francisco, if not more.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I was like, do you feel like it exhausts you, like emotionally?
Right.
And he said, no, not at all. And then I started thinking to myself, I was like, oh my God, I'm completely crazy. Like, this shouldn't be how I feel.
Nah, I think also he built a little different. He is built a little different, and I think he his work
Is in both places.
he's also working all the time. Like imagine if you had a job that you kind of had to schlep over all the time, where you could be kind of dual located. You wouldn't have. You also, I feel like the exhaustion comes from when you're kind of questioned by your family, and that's really hard.
I also think when you go back and forth, and I'm such a creature of habit, it's really hard for me to readjust every routine. So, like, when I'm home, and I'm sure this is true for everyone with a big family, when you are home and you're thrust into your family,
Yeah, you got to see everybody.
but you're just in their world. Like,
Right.
if I want to, like, do something, like, everything is questioned if it's not, like,
Yeah.
something that has to do with the entire family, which is fine. It makes sense. It was like that when I was growing up. But
But
then
that's your
I also
world
think, like,
too.
something that I realized the last time I went back, because what I've noticed is that a lot of people who are my age are now moving back to San Francisco. So when I would go home, it would just be to visit my family. But now it feels, and not that I see these people, but that there's a whole like periphery of people that are back in the city, and it makes me feel a certain way.
Yeah. The Great Return.
And then I think I was just reminded, and maybe it's also through my sister figuring this out because she just graduated last year. Now she just came back from her freshman year in college, and I think she's seeing things differently. But I remember, like, I really, really hated high school, and I really didn't like grammar school either. And I just never felt like I fit in, which is stupid, I know,
Why would
but
that be
like
stupid?
that still affects you when you
Wait,
come.
why is that stupid?
I don't know. I guess it's just because it feels like you're supposed to. When you come from a place where I come from, like where my parents were born and raised in San Francisco, all of their friends are their childhood friends. There's just a lot of tight knit circles. They all went to the same schools that they sent us to the same schools that they went to. I guess I just, when I go home, I still have that feeling where I feel like an outsider and a loser. And
I think that makes sense. Also, it's like your circle when you're home is so small. Like I say
yeah,
this a lot, but it feels like you're from the smallest town on the planet and it's a major city. And I feel like, the people your family sees, you know everyone's name. you know, they all know who you are. Like, it's just like very, it's like a small
It's
suburb.
like, well, let me say this though. They know everyone's name. They're close with everyone. I think, especially my dad. But I don't feel that at
Yeah, of
all.
course.
Like, I don't feel like I know everyone's name and story. And I never, I mean, this is like such a classic, like I was a nerd in high school, whatever, but I just never felt like I fit in at all. I never fit into that, like, to the lads, bruh. And I literally have dreams about them every single time I leave for San Francisco. Like, I literally had dreams about all of them last night.
That makes sense.
And they were all like at this bakery that I
They're
went
waiting for
to,
you.
and they were all like
Bakery.
getting the brownies and the bagels before I could order them.
They're not getting bagels. Those Irish Catholic boys, they wouldn't know a good one from a bad one.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally have like visceral dreams about them every time before I go home. And then you go home and you're like,
What do you mean by that?
I mean, just they're like in my periphery.
Where are they?
They're in my mind.
Oh, okay.
No, but
No, that makes sense.
like I also realize
Everything that you're making is making complete sense.
you also like revert to being a kid in a weird way. Like when I go home, I don't think I would think about those people if I met them today.
For sure.
But when I go home, I am like a shy little people-pleasing loser. Like I really care what people think of me when I'm home. Whereas when I'm here, if someone doesn't like me, I'm like, whatever, it's LA. Like no one likes anyone here and I'm an adult and I'll find my group. But I really don't even think I can think of anyone that I've like had beef with or doesn't like me because we're adults now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas like when I go home, I'm like, oh my God, like I really hope that everything I say, they really like me. They really see that I'm cool now. Like even when
Yeah.
I post on social media, I like my Instagram, I was saying this to my friends from back home, my two closest friends. I was like, and that is not who I am in any way. They don't have social media anymore and they said that it's like life-changing for them. There's part of me that clings on to it because I'm like, I'm an actress and I should promote myself, but also I'm like, do I really do that? I don't know. But why do you keep checking the time? Because I have to
You
go.
have a flight in an hour.
Not in an hour.
Oh, okay.
An hour and a half.
Yeah.
Should I go?
We should break. I'm gonna give us like 5 to 10 more. Matt, are you packed?
Yes.
Okay, you're packed.
I feel like you're distracting me from the pod and you're not being present.
I am present. I am present.
No, you're not.
I'm back. Also, what is that?
Yeah, so we got new neighbors, you guys, and they're fucking loud.
They're
Like
so
they stomp.
loud. They have the biggest feet in the world. You know, like people who have
But they
rhinoceros.
do like this little tap, 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 tap.
Like,
with
what
their
is this
toes.
tap tap thing that they're doing? Are they exercising?
Do you think?
I don't know what the fuck this
Did
is.
they exercise at 2 a.m. though?
But they don't do the tap 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 thing across the floor. I don't know what this shit
No,
is.
they just bang on their bedroom.
Well, they have rhinoceros feet. It's like this is the
mean,
other
like
thing
that.
of people who don't have like who did not grow up in apartments growing up. Because I grew up in apartments growing up, and there's a strong difference between house feet and apartment feet. If you live
Yeah,
in an
you're
apartment,
really- do I
you
have
know
house feet?
Yes, you do have house feet, but you're not a stomper.
I don't have big house feet.
No, you don't. But
I
I
have
can.
little house feet.
But I can tell you grew up in a house by the way you walk. Because if you grow up in an apartment and you're walking around and you grow up, you're gonna start stomping first, and your parents are like you can't walk that way because we have neighbors downstairs.
Okay.
Right? Like you have to be considerate of that. So you can't stomp. You have to walk kind of on the balls.
Yeah, you do not hear Aaron when he enters a room. It's really freaky.
It's learned. It's trained. It's habitual at this point. Okay? Because you're always thinking about, is there someone below me that I'm bothering by walking? And that is how you should exist in an apartment building. And these animals who live upstairs walk like, I think only on the heels. They're stomping 24/7. Okay? They stop now. It's like we're in a forest. Anyway, you can continue.
Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, but
But that being said, I would take this a million times over. That we just like were filming something in Joshua Tree. I would take that a million times over than
yeah, I think we should talk about
living
that
on
real
a
quick.
farm.
So,
Like-
first of all, Joshua Tree, the way I imagined it was like kind of like a, Palm Springs is the desert, but like a bougie, like kind of like a desert version of Beverly Hills, sort of,
Or
or
I
like
just
a Tahoe, like a
I
little bit more settled.
I don't know. When I hear Joshua Tree, again, I've not Googled Joshua Tree before. I've had no.
I think like hippie LA, like
I thought maybe hippie LA, but I also saw Joshua Tree. Like it would be so serene, and I didn't think green because it's obviously like in the desert, but I thought I just saw a bunch of rocks. Maybe we didn't go to the place we're supposed to go.
I think it's probably cheap
Yeah.
and quiet, so it's a way for people to
And
get.
then
But
there's Coachella.
there's no like hate to Joshua Tree, but
No,
I
it's
don't
great.
think it's like the place that I would. I'm more of a like see nature by the ocean, like in the
Yeah.
trees person.
Greenery.
But that being said, like I don't know if I would like just go to a desert for vacation. But the houses are really nice, you know.
Houses are nice and they're cheap, so there
Yeah.
you go.
You can also tell that people are like building up there. Like people are
Maybe it's starting.
starting to have
Well, I think they
Airbnbs.
know because of like Coachella and like the influencer shit. Although, who knows? Maybe that'll die out. But yeah, it was good. But I will say, every time I'm like, oh, you look at like a town in Michigan, you could buy a home for like $300,000, and you're like, oh my God, it would have like 4 bedrooms. It would have like a basement. It would be beautiful.
Do you ever think about that?
Okay, if I even I look at the price and I'm like, wow, that's such a great price. And then like we just went
Aaron's
to
Instagram like scrolling or TikTok scrolling is just loud. So.
I'm just on Zillow. I'm on Zillow all the time. If anyone ever needs, okay, advice, if you live in a major city or to stay, I might know. Only in New York and LA though. But anyway, uh, I just we were there on the first night. We dropped off our bags. Nothing's around us, and I went, oh,
Yeah,
I have to go back.
we were going to spend the first night by ourselves. I was like, it'll be nice, little romantic getaway. Like we never go on vacation together. And we've been so stressed this week. Like I think we just need to relax and like have a little couples night. Aaron refused to go by ourselves. He was like, we need Alex and Chris there. I do not feel comfortable being alone in the desert with no cars driving by.
I just need sounds and periphery. I need to feel like bodies near me.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
No, because then you feel safe.
Yeah.
We did have next door neighbors like right next to us, but still, I don't think you could even live in a suburb.
No.
I mean, just because suburbs are scary, or just because
No, I think
are they too desolate for you as well?
what scares me is how desolate they feel in the silence.
Do you think that my neighborhood in San Francisco is suburban?
No.
Yeah, I don't either. There's just houses.
I mean, that's a major I mean, you live in a major city. You live in San Francisco.
I know, but like I'm trying to think of your idea.
Any city is fine. City's fine.
Yeah.
But
Like, do
once
you think you'd be more comfortable living in New York than here because of the amount of people?
I think I would be very comfortable living there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that wouldn't overwhelm me.
No.
I like that.
So,
I
would
like
you
how it
say
makes
that
me feel.
that's your ideal city?
I think a lot of things about New York are my ideal city. I just think it's like super expensive. It was like 1 in 24 people there are millionaires in Manhattan,
That checks.
right? So it's like now that means nothing, being a millionaire in New York. So I don't know. It's just like, I mean, for like the cost to value, it just don't meet yet. So I don't know. But hopefully one day I'll be on the subway and I'll be having a good time, but not now.
Yeah, I don't think I could live anywhere but a city.
Also, like, I don't know, we want to make stuff. You can only really make like if you want to be your own sort of production thing, you should be in LA. Like, and you have a plan. It's like I want to make things.
I just want to say, because I know why, but I want to ask you why. Like, why would you say you can only be in LA to make things?
Because for example, we wanted to make like, and we're hinting at all this stuff now. We wanted to make a sketch where we needed an office building. We could rent an office for very cheap We just had to drive like 45 minutes. We wanted to do a sketch about like kind of living in like a villa, like reality thing. And we were able to find a house hour and a half away, 2 hours away. And like you can film, you know? So everyone's privy to filming. You're kind of in a place where that's just sort of
But do you think that
commonplace.
they would upcharge you because of that?
No, I think like I think I think anytime there's a market that's filled with things, it's gonna be cheaper than if you're the only person. Because if we were filming, let's say in Seattle, or if you're filming in San Francisco, it's like we're filming something like, oh, that's weird. I've never heard, like no one's ever asked us that. Tell us more. And then already like there's more hassle, you know.
Yeah.
So anytime
What about New York though?
I think it's you're gridlocked then to making something about New York, which is fine, but you can't ever deviate from that because
You're
New
right.
York is New York,
Because I will say the thing about LA
and you can't get
is
out
it
of New
is
York.
kind of like an empty. It's so large
It's
that you
just
can.
extremely versatile, and
Yeah.
you could go for any look you want. You could go for the beach, you could go for the desert, you could go for, you know,
The
the
snow.
mountains, you could go for the snow. You're really I understand why for a long time it was like the only place because it's very versatile in that way. And I think if, you know, if you want to start making movies and you have sort of like a plan, then it makes sense to come here.
Yeah.
And that's why I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the whole horse has been, oh, you don't need to actually be in LA anymore. And I think that's true.
Well, I think that was true during COVID.
That was true during COVID and the strike, but I think if you want to do your own independent productions, it still makes good sense to me, at least.
I also think what I've realized more and more, which is a little bit disheartening, is that getting cast in something, it's completely out of your control and it can take years and years and years. Or, you know, you can hit the jackpot, like going viral, and then you get something. But I think
And
hitting
then
the
even that
jackpot
is like, what does
is
that
just
mean?
like, yeah, because then it's like, well, will the show be canceled? A lot of shows I've
Will it be
auditioned to
good?
have been canceled. Will it be good? Will it bring up your career? Will it get you locked in a certain, like, there's so many what ifs
Yeah.
that my anxiety just can't handle. So you might as well try to create your own things and hope that you can get money for them. I hope that that's the direction that our world is going in. But Aaron keeps looking at the time, so I'm just gonna wrap this up real
It
quick.
is 10:23 a.m., you
I
guys.
gotta go.
But you
I
know
know
what?
I'm
We
really
need to
procrastinating it.
we need to make more short form stuff. Although before we go, since the camera is rolling, I said we would do this last time you left. Talk, and Sophia gets anxiety when she comes home from after leaving. She feels like her life isn't worth anything. Like she's not doing anything. Like she should just move home. So speak to your future self who's going to feel that way in 2 days.
Okay, Sophia, you're about to go to a big Greek wedding tomorrow. So I think that all the feelings that you have about not being at a certain place in your life are going to be amplified, even though that's not where you want to be in your life and you know that. You just did something that you're really proud of and that you did on your own and that you did with Aaron, your partner. And, you know, a lot of people aren't able to do those things and don't have the resources to do that. And you should just be proud of yourself that you're trying and that you're making little Sophia proud because you're working on your dreams. And I think that even though last time you came home and you said little Sophia wouldn't be proud of you because you haven't accomplished enough, I think that little Sophia actually would be really proud of you because there's nothing more inspiring than continuing to chase after what you've always dreamed of since you were a little girl. And one day, if you keep going, I know that something's going to happen for you. And I'm really proud of the person that you're becoming. And I love
Oh, great job. All right. Have a good rest of your week, everybody.
you. Aaron will go back to sleep.
I'm gonna I have to drive to the airport.
I am scared to get in the car with him. Be thoughtful, fun bitches.
God bless. On God.
That was good.
Nice. We're done. All right. Let's get you in the car, girl.